Part 3 is largely the findings itself based on national policies and legislation in the mapping process. This was the first part of the exercise before organizations were looked at. Next. So in the mapping, one was looking at all the legal frameworks of collectively doing business or community organizing and so forth. So you got public listed, private, companies limited by guarantee, business entities, government-linked companies, societies and association, non-profit trusts, cooperative movement, pawn shops. And all of this had specific legislation, and there were regulatory bodies that either was a commission or a registrar, or it was a government department that directly monitored and supervised it. These were different ones. Next, please. Likewise, Islamic pawn shops, neighborhood watch association, land development, microfinance institutions, trade union, social enterprises. So these were all groupings of profit and non-profit oriented bodies in the country that then provides the legal framework for the social economy to operate in. Next. So in that context, we have the for-profit companies, which are the largest. They are either stock market and so forth. They seem to have been regulated by the Securities Commission, social and environmental contribution through CSR or responsible business practices, or even human rights and business, which are aspects that are taken, good governance, environment, sustainability, these sort of themes. And likewise, significant for our study is, of course, the cooperative movement, and that's a large number of cooperatives and membership base that has pooled collective savings and investment. But there are also the larger non-profit society registration, including through the Companies Act and the various legal entities that raises funds to assist the social economy in some way. So this is the legislative framework. So one would see that some of this, like the cooperative one, would definitely have a different objective and priority as opposed to for business entities and closer to social economy. Next, please. So in the policy side, the major policy was the Cooperative Transformation Plan. And as I mentioned, it includes large numbers of cooperatives, over 14,000, 6 million members. So the whole government effort in this launch of this plan or revised plan or blueprint brings out this emphasis on the improvements to the well-being of people using the cooperative framework as opposed to just private sector investment, a greater cooperative or people's participation at the grassroots. Next. Now, this is a recent launch, which was this year, the Malaysian Social Entrepreneurship Policy and Blueprint, that is very comprehensive, that's at the heart of developing alternative social economy and social policy with a major thrust, trying to increase social entrepreneurs from 400 to 5,000, and to monitor the social sector contribution to overall employment of people in the sector, as well as the financial turnovers. And they seem to have an indicator towards that. But the policy documents that this sector, the social enterprise sector, would be a major contributor towards building sustainable and inclusive communities. And that's very important and significant. Next, please. Now, in the document, it brings out the major objectives and the core elements that are important. This is still in new thrust because the real dominant one is the market and so forth. But the policy will act as a catalyst for Malaysia to become a united, prosperous, and respected nation, and to continue developing sustainably with more equitable and inclusive economic contribution. So the entrepreneurship aspect, and within that, the social entrepreneurship is a key component, as we can see it. Next. Now, when this was first released, it was the potential of the social entrepreneurship, the enterprise, and the formative aspects of this and the accreditation process. Although there is no new legal system, but an accreditation process of recognizing social enterprises and providing alternative funding and increased funding is something very significant in the context. And so that brings us to the end of part 3, and we will be moving on to part 4 soon.